Hi. If you're watching this, I need to start by saying that what is included in this video does not reflect the mission or the message of Putnam City Schools, the district that I work for, nor Putnam City High School, the school that I work for. This is something of a more personal nature that I just wanted to take the opportunity to share with anybody who's willing to watch. You are under no obligation to watch this whatsoever. And so if you don't want to watch it, you can turn it off right now. But I wanted to take a moment to expand on something that I've said many times over the last year, and that is the phrase, "You are loved and you're never alone." I said it often to my students. I had it written on my board. I used it as a way to sign off on emails. And that phrase is something that I borrowed from my friends Toby Anderson and Kyle Cook. And the reason why I borrowed it is because it is so true. You are loved and you are never alone. And here's what I mean by that. When I was 16 years old, I gave my life to Jesus Christ. I accepted him as my Savior and I made him the Lord of my life. I was baptized a few days later as a symbol of that commitment, and I have served him ever since. I continue to serve him to this day. I served him in the church. A lot of you know that I was a student pastor for a while. I serve him in my daily life as a school teacher. And I continue to serve in the church that I'm a part of today. And the reason why I serve him is because he called me to himself. And when he did, I answered. And he is the one true God. There are no other gods. He is the one true God, and that is why I serve him. And he loves me, and he will never leave me, and he will never forsake me. And that is the lens by which I look at the world. I look at this creation behind me, and I realize that this is God's handiwork. This is not the result of a cosmic accident. This is not anything other than his handiwork. And so I serve him gladly. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I teach. I teach because that's what he called me to do. It was something that I had run away from. I had started doing other things. I was chasing a bigger paycheck. I knew I was supposed to be teaching, and I ran away from it for a really long time. And then I finally had to surrender. He finally got me to a point where I could no longer walk away, and I stepped out of my comfort and I stepped into my calling, the calling that he placed on my life. And so I continue to serve him to this day. That's why I do what I do. It's why I have joy in my life, because I am doing what I was supposed to do. I'm doing what I was called to do by the one true God. And it's not always easy. There are a lot of challenges that come with the job, and there's a lot of challenges that I've had to overcome personally in order to do this job. And one of the things that I wanted to just kind of clue you all in on is something that happened to me personally in 2018. During the teacher walkout, you guys remember that, we were out of school for like 2 weeks, which seems kind of short now in comparison to what we just experienced with the last several months of COVID. But it was during that time when we were all down at the Capitol. Every teacher in the state became a lobbyist all of a sudden, and we were down there, and I started experiencing some physical symptoms. And long story short, those physical symptoms landed me in the hospital, where I spent a week in the ICU step-down unit at Mercy Hospital. And it turned out that I have multiple sclerosis. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of details of multiple sclerosis. You can look it up and see what it does. But basically, what MS is when the body's immune system attacks the central nervous system as if it were a virus. And that was exactly what happened to me. I had an attack. And what I experienced today is the result of nerve damage from that initial attack. I'm on some great medication that holds the disease kind of at bay. It takes it from being a progressive disease and turns it into a stable one. And so what I deal with mostly on a daily basis is the result of the initial attack, the nerve damage. The number one symptom that most MS patients deal with is fatigue. And a lot of different things can bring on that fatigue. Usually mine is brought on by high heat and humidity, which is why I try to escape to the mountains when I can, where it's a lot cooler. We just had a big cool rain shower that came through here, and so it's absolutely beautiful out here. And so I don't experience the fatigue when I'm up here that I do when I'm back home in Oklahoma. And a lot of my students never saw the fatigue, or maybe didn't recognize it. A lot of times it would hit me usually around 6th or 7th hour, and I just was worn out from the day, because I try to be as animated as possible. Moving around the room, that took a lot of energy. But I tell you that to tell you this: I do what I do because of the grace of God. I do what I do because He gives me the strength and the power to do so. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this. And I do it because I serve Him gladly, and in serving Him, I serve my students. We all serve something. Okay, we all serve someone. Even if you're serving self, little do you know probably that you're actually serving somebody else who would love to see you do nothing more than to not serve the one true God. But I said many times in my classroom that I don't have any use for religion, and I don't, because religion is just rules made up by people. But what I do believe in is I believe in a relationship, and that relationship is the one that I have with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I wanted you guys to know that because I wanted you to understand where I come from. And when I tell you that I love you, and when I tell you that you are never alone, that's what I mean. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to share that with you. So thank you for your time and your attention, and I hope to see you sometime soon.